Dear soul, perhaps you have already tried very hard, tried to become better, tried to seize every opportunity, tried to prove that you are finally worthy of happiness. Yet fate, just when you are closest, quietly turns away. You have also asked yourself, did I miss something? Has the universe remained silent toward me? Why, after all this effort, does that longing in my heart still feel so out of reach? What has truly trapped you has never been the outside world, but the obsession that tightly clings and refuses to release. Your turning point doesn't come from chasing harder, but begins with the surrender of the self. Only when you finally release that need to control, let go of your attachment to the outcome, will you discover fate never left. It was simply waiting for you to stop resisting. Today, you are not being asked to try harder, but invited to quietly let go. Let the cannons in your heart fall silent. Let the swords you tightly grip slide to the ground. Your breakthrough will not come from building another fortress, but from calming your heart and learning to bow down and listen. To hear that long-suppressed desire, which, even in your most fragile state, still holds a steady and gentle force, like a river silently holding a fallen leaf, quietly supporting you. You might think that surrendering is a sign of failure, but in truth, it is your most tender act of trust toward life. It is in the softest corners of your soul that you quietly make space for something new to be born. The abundance that arises from within has never been something to forcefully seize. It comes quietly into your arms, only when you release the tension in your shoulders, when you open your heart. It arrives as life's gentle response to you. Here at Momentum Arc, we are a sanctuary for thought and soul growth. Every time you watch, like, subscribe, or send a super thanks, you become a vital force that keeps us moving forward. Dr. Gabor Maté is a physician and healer who profoundly reveals the inner trauma and mind-body connection in human beings. He points out that many chronic illnesses and emotional struggles are not merely physiological malfunctions, but consequences of early life trauma that went unrecognized and unaccepted. In his books, When the Body Says No, and In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts, he clearly illustrates how adverse childhood experiences plant the seed of suffering, which later manifests in adulthood as illness, addiction, and anxiety. Dr. Maté emphasizes that pain is not a mistake, nor is it a punishment. It is a signal sent by life. Every unacknowledged emotion, every moment of self-suppression done for the sake of survival, quietly accumulates within. Eventually, it erupts in the form of illness, addiction, or emotional breakdown. He explains that in a society that praises performance and rewards control, people are forced to ignore their emotional needs, to wrap up their pain and pretend to be strong, until the body has no choice but to demand a stop in its own language. He reminds us that pain has never been the enemy. It is the soul's cry to be understood. When we constantly seek validation from the outside but grow increasingly barren within, life will speak to us through illness, pleading with us to turn inward. Deep healing is not about patching a broken surface, but about returning bare to the heart, walking back to that part of yourself that once endured everything alone. Deep healing is not about putting the armor back on, but about having the courage to take off the protection and embrace the most vulnerable corner of your being. The places that have hurt are not shameful. They are proof that you are still capable of feeling. And that capacity is both the soul's first and final gift. It is precisely because of this that true transformation has never come from struggling harder, but from gently letting go from the depths of the heart. When we no longer suppress, no longer escape, no longer force ourselves to endure through sheer will, true healing and freedom will begin to quietly unfold. Self-surrender is the deep understanding and reconciliation with your own pain, not fighting it, but tenderly accepting yourself. When the body can no longer bear the pressure of being constantly pushed forward, it cries out to you through insomnia, anxiety, and chronic fatigue. This is not a sign of weakness, but life's way of reminding you, you've gone too far from your own heart. It's not that you aren't strong enough. It's that you've forgotten gentleness. It's not that you're incapable. It's that you've forgotten how to stop and listen to your own desires. As Dr. Gabor Maté has revealed, when emotions are suppressed and denied over long periods, the body becomes the final spokesperson. The pain that cannot be expressed in words will eventually emerge in the form of illness, anxiety, or numbness, not to destroy you, but to awaken you. Dr. Maté reminds us that true healing is not about forcing ourselves to return to normal, but about gently turning inward, embracing the forgotten fragments of emotion, and giving them space to be seen and understood. To surrender in this moment is not failure, it is grace. Like a long shut window, gently pushed open by the wind, you hear your own heartbeat for the first time. That rhythm, both familiar and unfamiliar, like an undercurrent in the deep sea, proving that life has never truly gone out. This is what Dr. Maté calls the wisdom of pain. Only when you let go of the struggle and stop fighting yourself can pain transform from an enemy into a guide, leading you back home. The soul's surrender is not an abandonment of life, but a letting go of the mask, a gentle embrace of the true self. The most fragile, most authentic part of your heart has never blamed you. It has simply waited quietly, like a small light flickering deep in the forest, and with one sincere glance back, you can rediscover the self that was never extinguished. The turning point of the soul always appears at the edge of collapse, when the old armor shatters, when all the roles you've constructed fall apart. The real self finally begins to glow. In that moment, the old shell breaks, not as a disaster, but as a crack where light enters, as an opening through which the soul can finally breathe. To surrender is not to battle with pain, nor to resist the flood of emotion, but to learn how to simply see. To see, not to analyze, not to judge, but to experience a deeper sense of presence. And when you are willing to do so, every face of life will begin to reveal itself to you in a new way. When you gaze upon mountains and rivers, it means you are no longer confined within them. When you behold the ocean, it signifies that you are now viewing its tides from beyond the waves. And when you can see your own emotions and pain, it means you are no longer being swallowed by them, but have begun to stand at a higher level of consciousness, quietly observing your inner world with expanded awareness, gently holding every version of yourself that arises. This is the beginning of self-redemption. When you realize, I have emotions, but I am not my emotions. I am going through pain, but I am not the pain itself. In that moment, pain loses its power over you. You are no longer dragged around by emotions, no longer drowned in suffering, but begin to have a choice to stay present, a choice to understand what the emotions are trying to say, a choice to walk yourself through the inner storm with gentleness and quiet strength. Dr. Gabor Maté reminds us that true healing is never about suppressing pain or pretending to be strong, but about daring to see. To see your emotions means you are no longer their captive. To be aware of your pain means you have already grasped the beginning of your freedom. This kind of seeing is not cold detachment, but a compassionate and steady heart, allowing everything to happen while remaining awake within it all. Surrender is happening quietly, right at this moment. When you stop fighting your own pain, when you stop trying to control the rise and fall of emotion, you open the space for love, understanding, and healing to flow in naturally. True transformation is not about defeating inner chaos, but about gently laying down resistance. learning to stay present through every rise and fall, learning to breathe again, learning to walk once more with life. And when you begin to live in peaceful coexistence with all inner phenomena, a new miracle is already quietly forming. It is not something you fought to obtain, but the grace that life offers in response to your openness. In this moment, you are no longer a traveler swimming against the current, but a navigator flowing with the wisdom of something far greater. Sometimes, what truly prevents us from surrendering is not fear of reality, but the refusal to admit our own powerlessness. The healing that Dr. Gabor Maté speaks of is not about overcoming every challenge, but about daring to acknowledge our limits. When you are faced with consequences you simply cannot bear, the despair, anxiety, and fear that arise are real and undeniable, especially for an adult carrying the expectations and trust of parents, partners, and children. The weight can feel suffocating. You know that some consequences, no matter how deeply you are loved, cannot be carried by anyone else. Some roads, no matter how much you long to lean on someone, must be walked alone. You understand that even with someone holding your hand, the final choice and responsibility remain solely yours. It is this profound aloneness that brings a chilling fear at the edge of collapse, the fear that a single misstep might cause your entire world to fall apart. But the truth is, everyone has the right to pause, to breathe, to cry, and to begin again. To surrender is not to abandon responsibility, nor to escape life, but to gently admit, in this moment, I cannot control everything. In this moment, I truly do not have the strength. Such an admission is not a collapse, but the end of a futile inner struggle. It is the act of allowing yourself, at life's most difficult crossroads, to pause and create a space of rest for your own being. When you release the obsession with a perfect outcome, when you let go of the anxiety to solve everything immediately, only then does real space begin to open. And within that new space, new understanding, new support, and new possibilities can flow into your life. To surrender is to dare to leave blank space in the depths where fear and duty intertwine. It is to allow yourself to stay tender, even in moments you cannot carry it all. It is to trust that even if you fall, life will still reach out from the shadows to catch you. Even when your shoulders grow unbearably heavy, even when your soul feels exhausted, please remember, your strength is not in enduring to the bitter end, but in the courage to face your pain and the willingness to gather yourself again even from brokenness. In his writings, Dr. Gabor Maté points out that true healing arises from honest awareness of our inner emotions and gentle self-companionship, not from forceful repair or denial. Therefore, surrender is not retreat, nor is it giving up. It is a return to the heart with deeper compassion, a tender invitation back to yourself. The following practices are inspired by Dr. Maté's core teachings, designed to help you, in the simplest and warmest ways, return to your own embrace, one breath at a time. 1. Seeing the self that was hidden. Find a quiet corner, gently close your eyes, and ask yourself, what feeling did I force myself to ignore today? No blame, no explanation. Just sit quietly with that suppressed emotion and let it rise to be seen with tenderness. 2. Listening to the inner child's voice. In your heart, call upon that little version of you, the one who most needed love in childhood. Gently ask, what do you want to tell me right now? Listen with the softest heart. No interruption, no judgment. Let their voice flow freely. 3. Recognizing moments of performed suppression. Reflect quietly. Were there moments today when you suppressed your real feelings just to appear strong, mature, or likable? Each time you recall one, whisper to yourself, "I'm still learning. There's no rush." 4. Practicing compassionate holding of every emotion. When any emotion arises, don't push it away. Don't try to suppress it. Instead, gently tell yourself, "Even so, I am still loved." Let every rise and fall of emotion become a chance to return to your own embrace. As you continue, day by day, to gently see, understand, and hold yourself, the inner tension and pressure will quietly begin to soften. Life, too, will respond in its own timing. This is the moment when your destiny begins to flow freely, and everything you've been waiting for has already been drawing near. All of this is not about fixing the past, but about softly opening yourself to receive the new flow of life. As Dr. Gabor Maté emphasizes, true health does not come from trying to control every detail of life, but from ceasing to suppress our inner emotions and allowing natural flow. He points out that when we stop resisting our lived experience, life itself resumes its flow, regains its wisdom, and reactivates its innate power to heal. When the inner being is no longer tense, the energy of life flows naturally. You don't need to chase after opportunities. They will gently approach the moment you open. You don't need to force relationships. They will blossom naturally through sincerity and ease. You don't need to struggle for money. It will quietly flow to you along the frequency of trust and openness. The secret of abundance is not found through outward seeking, but in whether your heart is truly ready to receive. When your presence is no longer a cry of lack, but a grounded state of peace and gratitude, everything that truly belongs to you will follow you like a shadow. This is not a myth, nor a fantasy. It is the natural echo of a conscious state. Every thought you carry, every emotion you feel, is a bridge through which the universe responds to you. To release anxiety is to clear a path for blessings. To release control is to make room for miracles. True abundance does not come from the sweat of endless pursuit, but from a quiet, open, fearless heart. When you become this version of yourself, the world will naturally make way for you. Letting fortune flow on its own means you no longer carry the future on your shoulders. You no longer treat every detail as a burden that you must control. Instead, you live with a deeper trust, not passive waiting, but actively remaining open, holding a calm clarity, leaving space in your actions, and leaving freedom in your expectations. When you release the need to control everything, true power returns to your hands. Not the power to push, but the power to magnetize. Not the effort to force the world to change, but the grace of letting your own frequency attract all that resonates. In that moment, destiny is no longer an enemy to defeat, but your gentlest ally. Life was never against you. It was simply waiting for you to stop gripping so tightly, waiting for you to open your hands and receive the gift it has long prepared for you. Dear soul, listen quietly. You have never been forgotten. You have never been disconnected from abundance. You are the extension of love itself, the source of infinite richness. Perhaps now is the time to stop clenching so tightly, to stop chasing so desperately, and instead to begin again with gentle surrender, allowing life to walk beside you once more. The universe can only take your hand once you loosen your grip, only when you close your eyes. Can your inner light illuminate the path ahead? Let the ocean take the helm. Let the sails open toward the sky. You'll find the ship that drifted for so long has already anchored in the harbor of love. Turn around. Transform effort into trust and control into flow. Then destiny will no longer be a wall built brick by brick, but a gentle river carrying you home to your true inner dwelling. When you stop forging armor out of fear and stop drawing maps with anxiety, only then does the true journey of freedom begin. Real freedom is not about taking back something from the outside. It is about releasing from within the boundless abundance and deep calm that have always been yours. You no longer need to fight the current. Life itself is a river. All you need is to flow with it, and you will arrive at the shore your soul longs for. Life was never asking you to battle. It has always been inviting you into a silent, sacred dance. Surrender is not loss. It is a reunion with the rhythm of life. May you be brave enough to surrender, and in that surrender, find your freedom again. That version of you which was never broken, only waiting in silence to be gently called back to life. Trust this. When you finally let go, the universe will gently tap your shoulder and smile as it whispers, "Welcome home."